you know, the people, what, I can't speak. Today I will be showing you my Gamble deck profile, and the reason I'm showing you this is because I posted a vote in this Facebook group called Zodiac Duelist that I'm a part of. It's a really good group. I don't know if you guys know it. Some of the people watching this will probably be from that. Yeah, here's that. Majority of them said, you know, do Gamble. Except that one guy. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'll probably do the DDD post links in my next video. But yeah, without further ado, let's get on to it. So first I run 3 Gambler of Legend. He is not that great with stats, quite honestly. He's only 500 4-star, and his effect is pretty decent if it works out well. Basically, you flip 3 coins and you get a different effect for each result. So if you get 3 tails, then you discard your entire hand. Sometimes that doesn't even matter because you know sometimes you don't even have a hand. Uh, 1 head, you destroy a card you control. 2 heads, your opponent discards 1 card, and 3 heads, you're pretty sure it destroys all monsters your opponent controls. So it's not too bad. Obviously, it's not going to be a game winner. You just want to run 3 because he looks cool. He's the embodiment of a gamble deck. So yeah, that's why I want to run him. Next, I run 3 Sand Gambler. Basically, just a slightly worse version of Gambler of Legend. All he really does is you flip 3 coins. If you get 3 heads, you destroy all monsters your opponent controls. If you get 3 tails, destroy all monsters you control. It's just a simpler version, a bit weaker. It's 300 instead of 500. Basically, the way I like to see it is like that's him, and then like his like alter ego or something, just something cool like that. But honestly, my favorite artwork of a card. I think it just looks really cool. That's the main reason I wanted to build this deck is because it's just a really fun deck to play. The cards look really cool, and you could actually get over some really meta decks, which is always funny. But even if you lose, you don't feel bad because it's just such a fun deck to play. Like there's never a time when I don't have fun playing this deck, and that's why I decided to build it. Next, I like to run 3 Dice Jar because he has a really fun effect and it's cool when it goes off. Basically, both players roll a dice, and whoever gets the highest result, the loser takes damage equal to the result times 500. But if the winner's result is a 6, then the loser takes 6,000 damage, which is a lot of damage off just a flip. So it's a really good card, and it goes really well in combination with one of these trap cards in this deck that you also run 3 of. So it's a really good combo that you usually see a lot with this deck. Next, I like to run 3 Sasuke Samurai number 4. I mean, he's not bad, but you know, he's not the best. Basically, when he battles a monster, you flip a coin, call it. If you call it right, destroys the monster instantly. It's pretty good. It's not the best, like I said, but it can get over a fair amount of stuff, and it's a good staller. It's also good for annoying monsters that you know can't be destroyed by battle or something. You just use that. Yeah, but like I said, not the best. Your main play would be setting him and then, you know, just hoping for the best. Or if you have the trap card that I was talking about, I'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, just it's not your main play, but you still want to run 3 because there's actually not that many monsters in this. That's why they're all 3 so far. And yeah, that's why. Next, to Abare Ushioni. I am probably not saying that correctly. He's the Red Bull, pretty much. Yeah, literally a Red Bull. But anyway, you flip a coin, call it. If you call it right, your opponent takes 1,000 damage. If you call it wrong, you take 1,000 damage. He's really good, just for a little extra burn damage. He's a 4-star, so yeah, it's pretty good. All the monsters that I run in this deck are normal summonable. I said that in the last video too. What is the proper plural for that? Am I saying that right? Anyway, no monsters have to be tribute summoned. It's all just, you know, normal summon and all that sort of stuff. Because I feel like this deck it's pretty slow, I'm not going to lie, and they're going to get over your stuff. So you're not going to be able to tribute summon, because there are like Blowback Dragon, it's a level 7, you need 2 tributes. It's just probably not going to happen. Actually, it's definitely not going to happen unless you have like Swords of Really Light or something along those lines. But yeah, that's it for monsters. Like I said, there's not that many, because there's actually not many monsters in the game that are good for gamble decks. But yeah, so that's it. Now we'll go on to spells. Righto, on to spells. We have a fair amount of them. This deck does run a lot of spells, I will admit. So, first, this is probably one of the main spell cards in the deck, Dark Sanctuary. This is a field spell, and without it, you would die. I'm not even joking. Every time an opponent's monster declares an attack on you, you flip a coin. If it's heads, it negates the attack and inflicts half of that monster's attack as damage to your opponent. So, it basically, if you have nothing on the field but this, there's a chance that you're not going to take any battle damage, and in fact, your opponent will. So it's actually really, really good, and if you don't run it at 3 in a deck like this, then you're just going to die really, really fucking quickly, and that's not even a joke. So this is a necessity. Always run 3. Next, you run 3 second coin toss, another necessity in the deck because it actually helps you get the effects that you want. See, the monsters are pretty good on their own, but there are a few cards in here to help you get the results you want more often. So it's not a pure gamble deck. It's aided with a few cards like this, and dice reroll is in it as well. It's just just give you a second chance on the hope that it'll work, and usually it does. Usually, if you do second coin toss, you usually get the result you want if you didn't get it the first time. So it does help a lot. It is once per turn, but you get the option to do it every time you flip a coin. So you don't have to do it the first time you flip a coin. Just say you had Sasuke Samurai and he attacked a monster and you didn't get the result you wanted, you could flip it. But if you did, you could save the second flip for something else you wanted to do. I don't know. But yeah, it is once per turn, but you get to choose which one you do the second coin toss on, if you know what I mean. So it's good. It is good. Next, I run 3 Dicefoon because actually a surprisingly good card. It can be an MST, it can be a Twin Twisters if you roll a 5. It's just really good, except the backlash is kind of a bit iffy. Basically, it's a quick play. When you activate it, roll a 6-sided dice. If you roll a 1 or a 6, you take 1,000 damage. If you roll a 2, 3, or a 4, you can destroy 1 spell trap on the field. But if you roll a 5, you destroy 2. So on the off chance that you get a 5, it's a Twin Twisters without a cost, so it's really good. And it's the only spell and trap removal that this deck has, so it's kind of necessary to play 3. Plus, it makes the deck a bit better, but it still has that gamble theme, which is necessary, otherwise this deck wouldn't be as fun. Next is Cup of Ace. Everyone knows what Cup of Ace does. Basically, flip a coin. If it's heads, you draw 2 cards. If it's tails, your opponent draws 2 cards. Pretty good. I like it. I do. And quite honestly, it's the only draw power in the deck apart from Lucky Chance, but I only run 2 copies of that. So, yeah, that's really, it's good draw power. And most of the time, with this and second coin toss, it's usually just a Pot of Greed every time you activate it. I'm not really, there's no real downside to it unless you flip tails and then go to flip it again and you get another tails, then at that point you kind of just want to kill yourself probably. But anyway, Roulette Spider, only at 2 because you don't really need, I would add more back row protection for monsters, but you already have Dark Sanctuary and you have this and stuff, so it's not really that necessary. Plus, that's every time they attack, so you don't even have to chain this. That can stay on the field for 2 turns if that goes off. Because what you do is you set this, because it's a quick play, and you have this on the field, and if they attack and you get tails, and the attack goes through, you can still chain this, and then their attack, you get the result of this pretty much. Like Dice Jar, Roulette Spider goes well with a trap card that I run. I'll show you that in a minute. If you get attacked, you roll a 6-sided die. If it's a 1, you halve your life points, and it just the effect varies on what you roll. The 5 and the 6 is what you want to get, because a 5 negates the attack, inflicts the damage to your opponent, so it's sort of like Dark Sanctuary. Then a number 6 just destroys the monster straight out. You take no battle damage, but neither does your opponent. In a way, I'd kind of like a roll of 5 more than a 6 because your opponent takes damage. This is basically just a burn deck that isn't always consistent. It's just based on luck, and it's really fun. But yeah, that's the way I've built it. I'm not saying that's the way all gamble decks should be, but quite honestly, in my opinion, that's the only way they can be good. Anyway, the only non-gamble card I run in this deck is 2 Terraforming, just simply because this bad boy right here is necessary. Like, if you don't have that on the field, you're going to have a hard time, like a really hard time. So just double Terraforming, just so if you don't open it, hopefully you open Terraforming so you can get it to your hand and activate it. I'm going to think of adding the trap card that comes out. Not sure if it's in Code of the Duelist or the next set. I think it's Circuit Break. I'm not sure, but when you activate it, you can activate a field spell straight from your deck. It's really good, and I'm thinking of adding that to this, but I'm going to have to wait for it to come out, obviously, because I don't even think it's out in the OCG yet. I think it just got announced. So it'll be a while, but for now, that's good enough. And yeah, that's it for spells. Now we'll get on to traps. Okay, this is the time you've all been waiting for. That's not how you say that sentence, but anyway, that's 6. This is the card I was talking about that goes in combination well with Roulette Spider and Dice Jar. Basically, every time a player rolls a dice, if it's a 1, 3, or a 5, you can make it a 6, and if it's a 2, 4, or a 6, you can make it a 1. This goes really well with Dice Jar because even if they roll a 6, you can turn it into a 1. And if basically, if you rolled a 1 and they rolled a 6 and you were going to take 6,000 damage, you can switch those with this. You can make yours a 6 and theirs a 1. It's really, really good. And yeah, same with Roulette Spider. You can make it a 6, so it would destroy the monster. Like if you landed on 1 and you had to halve your life points, which is what Roulette Spider does, you can make it a 6. It's really good because it usually goes the way you want it to. And even if it's not compulsory either. You can choose to do it or not. So if you roll a 6 and they roll a 4 or something, you're obviously not going to want to make yours a 1, obviously. So you can just leave it, and then they take 6,000 damage with Dice Jar. It's really, really good, and like Dark Sanctuary and all that, you'd be screwed if you didn't have a card like this, because you'd be backlashing that much on yourself. But anyway, I will stop jizzing over a trap card and I'll move on to Lucky Chance, because it's good, pretty much. It's a continuous trap. Every time a monster flips exactly 1 coin, you can call it. If you call it right, then you draw a card. So it works well with like Albright Ushioni, Sasuke Samurai number 4, and that's pretty much it, actually. Never mind. But basically, if you called heads for Albright Ushioni, you can call tails, so either way you're getting a bit of an advantage, something like that. Or you can just call heads for both of them, so they take 1,000 and you draw a card, Just stuff like that. It's good draw power. Not always consistent, obviously, because you could call it wrong, and then it hasn't really got a backlash effect, because if you call it wrong, nothing bad happens to you, but it's still, you want to call it right as much as possible, because it doesn't say once per turn, it's every time you flip a coin, pretty much. And I'm pretty sure it might actually work with Dark Sanctuary. I'm not entirely sure, don't quote me on that. I think it might, but yeah, so that's good. If they attack you 5 times, you can be drawing cards. If it does work like that, I'm not entirely sure. I'd have to check the ruling on that. But anyway, nearly done with the traps. We run 3 Paths of Destiny. Now, this is an odd card. It's good though, it can be really good. Basically, each player flips a coin. If they get heads, they gain 2,000. If they get tails, they take 2,000 damage. So, if you flip Dice Jar and you have that 6 on the field, and then you deal them 6,000 damage, and then you flip this and they take another 2,000 from the effect, well, that's game. Like, it's good in combination with other cards, and it's decent by itself. But yeah, you usually want to use it in combination. You want to save it. You don't just want to activate it randomly. You want to like try and get it in combination with Dice Jar or even Dark Sanctuary or something like that. But yeah, it's actually a decent card and it's good. That's why I run 3 of it. It's good to draw into and have on the field just in case. Plus, it's a burn effect, so any burn effect is good. Next, Dice Reroll. That's pretty simple. Basically, the effect is every time you roll a dice, you can redo it. If that makes sense. It's like second coin toss. Basically, if they were to attack your face down dice jar, you can chain this and that 6. Just say if you have them face down, you can chain both of these, and then for the rest of the turn, you can redo a dice roll. So even if with that 6 and dice jar you still don't get the result you want, you can do it again, and you're almost guaranteed to get get them 6,000 damage at that point because you'd be rolling dice that much. Yeah, it's a good card, but you do only run 2 of it because it's not the best, especially with that 6 because that's clearly a better card because it pretty much helps you rig the dice rolls. But anyway, that's it for traps. There's not that many, and yeah. Anyway, that was my Gamble deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you to the people who suggested it, and thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I said that already. I need to shut up. Anyway, I'll see you next time. See you guys.